Hi everyone, welcome to the visual guide for Anabaseios, the 12th Circle. This is the last of the normal raid encounters made available by patch 6.4 in Final Fantasy XIV, The Dark Throne. I have a theory that this encounter forces a paradigm shift of the average boss experience. I'm so chained to this idea that I feel it in my souls. My name is Miztech and I'll be your raid guide. On the soul will deal high raid-wide damage, shield and heal as necessary. Anytime the boss casts Trinity of Souls, all players must pay close attention to her wings. 3 rings will appear over her wings in a random order and on random sides. The order of these ring spawns indicates the order of the incoming wing attacks, which will deal a massive half-room cleave on the side of the boss. Players will need to move to the opposite side of each ring attack to avoid getting hit. The order is random each time she casts, so make sure you're paying attention to those wings throughout the encounter. Paradigma will form 4 shapes in the center of the platform that will move to the outside of the arena and form adds. The adds on the north will each throw out long line attacks across the platform that must be avoided. The adds on the east and west will tether to random players and target them with line attacks in their direction. These players can drag their tethers away from the rest of the raid to avoid overlapping as necessary. Glaucopus will target the primary tank with a line tank buster. Cool down appropriately while facing this attack away from the rest of the raid. When the boss casts Superchain Theory, 2 types of shapes can appear on the platform chained to exploding orbs. The spheres will explode in wide circle AoEs once they reach their orb, while the donuts will explode in wide donut attacks. In this first cast of Superchain Theory, there will be 3 spheres and 1 donut, all exploding at the same time. To handle this, players need to identify the orb chained to the donut and stand in that area to avoid getting hit. The second Superchain Theory cast will have 2 donuts spawning, but one will have a shorter chain than the other, allowing it to reach its orb first. This donut explosion will go off first, and players will need to stand on the short orb before moving onto the long orb to avoid getting hit by either donut attack. The boss will then face a random direction and cast Parthenos, forming a massive line attack through her that goes across the platform. This attack will deal high damage and knock back any player's hit, so be sure to move to her sides to avoid getting hit. Unnatural Enchainment will have chains forming onto specific sections of the platform. Players must immediately move off of these sections as they will soon be destroyed, taking down anyone with them. At this point, the available platform space is limited, and players will have to handle another round of Paradigma add attacks within the limited area. Next up, the boss will cast another Unnatural Enchainment, and all segments but 2 will be destroyed. Since there's not much room to work with here, the tanks should try to keep her facing directly north or south. The boss will cast Trinity of Souls, and players will have to adjust left and right based on the order of the rings appearing over her wings. The boss will cast On the Soul, and the platform will then return to normal. The boss will then cast Ultima Blade, dealing massive raid-wide damage before disappearing. Don't forget to shield and heal. The platform will be further reduced to this hexagonal shape, and 4 adds will appear that must be picked up as quickly as possible by the tanks. The boss will begin to power up her gauge bar, and you need to destroy the adds before it reaches 100 or you will die. As you burn down the adds, AoE circles will appear over random players, and the adds will also throw out massive line attacks. Move away from these attacks while spreading out the circle markers. The boss is also casting Palladion during this time and will begin to dive towards each player targeted by a circle marker, dealing damage to anyone in the way. This can do a ton of damage if players are too close together, so make sure you spread apart. Once the adds are destroyed, a telegraphed attack will appear over the middle sections of the platform. Move away from this area as these sections will soon be destroyed. Athena will cast Theos' ultimate, dealing massive raid-wide damage and returning the platform to normal. Healers be ready. The next Superchain Theory will have multiple spheres tethered at different lengths to their orbs and 1 long donut tether. Players will need to dodge the early circle orb explosions as they make their way towards the donut orb, or simply move into a newly freed section after the first set of explosions go off. The boss can face a random direction and cast Parthenos during this time, so be careful not to get knocked back as you move towards your safe spots. Dialogos will target a player with a stack-up marker. The raid can stand on top of them to reduce damage. Immediately after, all players will be targeted with circle markers that must be spread to avoid overlapping. At this point, mechanics will repeat with some overlap. Be careful not to get knocked off by the falling platforms and take each mechanic in turn until the boss is down. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know. Up next, we'll take a look at the new Extreme Trial. As always, thanks for watching. Till next time.